Down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go. For if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see a cat wearing a hat? Down by the bay, down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go. For if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see a monkey dancing so funky down by the bay?
Hello, welcome back to another edition of Kids Corner with Miss SUAD, BAYDOUN and
HAJARATU S.BANGURA.
We're back with another interesting topic for this week. Don't forget, last week's topic was about rainbow, and this week's topic will be about fire. Did you receive any comments about rainbow last week?
Yes, I received like a lot of comments, people saying that they loved it and they've understood a lot about what rainbow is, how many colors.
And now it's forming the causes. But so actually on the Vox Pop that we did, some people were saying that a rainbow has 3 colors, 2 colors, and also what is name again?
Okay, there are a lot of people.
There are a lot of people. Okay, that said that a rainbow has a black color.
Yeah.
Is black part of a rainbow color?
No, it's not. And I knew that many people who have watched the rainbow edition of Kids Corner will know that black is not a part of a rainbow. You know.
Don't forget to contact us on 0776188848 or our Facebook page Kids Corner, or you can check us at YouTube.
Yeah.
Ajarato, what is fire? Do you have any idea about fire?
Yes, I have an idea about fire. Fire is the rapid oxidation and the
Exothermic.
That is the release of energy in the form of heat, chemical process actually, you know, that is very harmful. It's also like the combustion of light, heat and various reaction products.
And also, fire is a chemical reaction that needs 3 things: the fire triangle, oxygen, and also some stuff around you that you can breathe in. But also there are other stuff that can produce, there are other oxygens that can produce oxygen as well. But this is the most common one though.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like, fire, but still we have lots to learn about fire. And I know you guys out there too, like you see fire every day, your mom cooking with fire, and you see many
people lighting cigarettes with fire,
but you don't know where it came from. And this is why Kids Corner is here to tell you about why it was introduced, how it was introduced, but not who introduced it, because we don't know the actual person, but we know that.
And even if we're going to do research about that, we need to go deep to find.
Tell us what it means, like in the Bible, and you know, we're gonna have some explanations that we got from the internet. But first, we're gonna go for a short break, which actually a music video, which was originally performed or written by Nickel Black. But now it's fire. But now the Alvin and the Chipmunks are singing it. You guys are gonna enjoy it. So just enjoy. Just listen and just do it if you like.
Let's watch it. Welcome back. That was the first song originally done by Nickelback, but was performed by Chipmunks. I mean Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Well, it was a great song, and you guys know that today's topic is about fire. So we had to bring a fire music. So now we're gonna do like a little bit of fire slang. So today's song is about fire, 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 fire. We do like a childish thing, but we're gonna learn more about it. So you guys just stick and stay. But we went actually outside to interview people about what they understood or what they understand about fire. So it's gonna be interesting. Like if you guys want to get in contact with us, you can contact us on the number below.
The screen is 0776188848, or you can visit our Facebook page or
Kids Corner. Very simple. You just type it, or you can go on YouTube too. Yes. And also we're going to go on Vox Pop right now. We're going to interview people on what they understand about fire.
Their own view about fire, what they understand about fire.
I'm very like interested to see what people know about fire, because many people like they don't know
They don't know the
Yes.
dangerous part of fire. Maybe they know the use of fire
or where it came from, and that's why we're here. But first of all, we're gonna go to the people and ask them what they understand about fire, because it's going to be interesting to learn about it. It's like flames, you know, what do you understand about fire? How did it came about? And you know, watch that Vox Pop. It's going to be interesting. Well, sir, also you think was a fire come out?
No. According to the kids, something far from school. Because we got two stone together and then
You know what I mean fire?
I don't know the inventor. I just know saying two stones put together and the first people in that will be doing fire because we invented
But sir, it's something like the color of the fire.
The fire sometimes they produce different colors. So they produce red, and they produce yellow, they produce different types according to which in the bomb. And the bomb sometimes they bring up blue flame, or a red too. Sometimes a red they bring up different colors.
Okay, Abdul, you know what's in a fire?
Yes.
What's in a fire?
Well, fire again. Get red, get yellow, get something like black.
Okay. Well, you know would I make fire?
Fire. Actually, yes, like fire approved by higher stone.
Okay, you tell me how.
Well, I think just like when you don't want, you not come fire the scratch.
Okay. What are the use them? What should you use fire for?
Huh?
What are some of the use them of fire?
Go cool for the
Okay, well, shall we some, yeah?
cow.
What do you can do with fire? I mean, how fire important to you? What are some of the work that we can do with fire?
For cool. For do. You get more putting for do.
My name is Hassan El Ali.
Okay, Amin, you get any idea about fire? Who that invents fire?
Invents.
Yeah, or who that come with fire?
First start off from Aliman, where they make things then. They start out from rocks. Combine rocks together, snapper and lit.
Okay. You know how many colors or when are the color the way fire there?
Well, fire it depends on what's in burner. Like if you for example, use the dim material, the green paper. If you lit out, that green issue, green fire. But so we on what how this here? Fire get orange, red, yellow.
Okay. When are some of the use them of fire or wait till you can use fire for them?
Well, we can use it like for cook, for light candle and nets, we light Sunday, and other stuff like.
Fire. It means they make fire.
Well, number one first, if without fire, you go able to cook. You don't able to do anything there. Like for example, we get a pan lamp. Without fire, you never light. Candle, you never light candle. You have gas in it, you never light outside fire. So far, I never use it.
Okay, Fatmata, you get any idea about fire? You know what's in a fire?
No idea about fire. I would say like That's what they use for make for cook, they can sell them. They use it for do many things and they cause danger.
Okay, well, what are some of the danger the way they cause?
Like one, they can cause to make us burn. Then you get the, I would say like electricity fire back, like it will cause that to make rain. So it makes us burn.
What do you think was a fire from us?
Anyway, I would say like fire come out. Anyway, it depends on the individual. Like how you go take them for do you go to say. Because you're not going to put matches inside matches, but if you get small picking in a house, they will just take them and they scratch it. They will put in a toy.
Yeah, well, but you know for say like go to for matches stick fire come out for say.
Yeah.
Also if for stick was come out from long time ago. So it
From the ancestors them. Well, you know the color the way fire again.
For me, the color the way fire again like me, I go see a red. I would say orange like.
My name is Mr. Sheriff Conte.
Okay, Mr. Sheriff Conte,
Yes.
is there any idea about fire? How fire come about?
Well, fire comes from lighter. Fire comes from matches. Fire comes from making fire. Fire comes from firewood. Fire making fire burn in the house.
Okay,
is that really color of fire?
Well, fire get red, you get yellow, you get all the one we call green and little light white.
What do they use fire for?
Fire is to cook.
Wow.
Fire is to light cigarette. That's how I'm smoking. It's my cigarette. That's fire.
What do they use fire for?
Yeah, what do you get any?
You, what do you use that for?
But me normally I can use fire from the cigarette.
Apart from that day?
I can use fire for cooking the food.
Wow.
I can use fire for grilled chicken. I can use fire for grilled lobster. Because that's my job down here.
Okay.
I'm representing Sierra Leone International. Welcome to Sierra Leone.
Okay, you know when are some of the dangers them of fire? When are some
Well,
of the dangers of fire?
the danger of fire can cause destruction. Fire, if you light candle, you're not able for long time before you sleep. Fire can burn house. Fire can make you lost you became. Fire can burn more to my body. And fire is a destruction something that no one can fight against.
No one can fight against. You mean okay? You want to always say now water, then they know the hot fire.
Well, water cannot pull out the fire. Because when you get some water, then the fire is going to be more blazing.
Okay. Thank you
very much.
And what is we?
I don't know.
Oh my God, shut around.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my God, I'm going to shut. Please stand for
what?
For Vincent.
Vincent.
Wow. And S stands for Africa. And Y stands for Y-O.
You. And
what does S stand for?
Oh, Sharif.
Wow. What else?
L stands for love.
What does B?
B stands for banana.
C?
C stands for coconut.
John.
Okay, Mr. John, do you have any idea about fire?
Yes, I'm captain of the ships now, so I know about fire. Also in the ships we make fire drills from time to time, so I'm experienced about fire.
Okay, can you please tell us what is fire?
In case of fire, it depends the kind of fire. For example, you have fire with petrol, you understand? It's not possible to throw water. You have to throw sand or CO2 to avoid the oxygen, understand? Also if you have fire over there and you throw water, you have to throw down in the fire, not up, because up the water is hydrogen and oxygen. So dissolve and the oxygen and hydrogen make no fire. Okay. There are some secrets.
Okay. How did you think fire came about? How was it discovered?
The reason?
Yeah.
Many reasons. Me, I'm smoking. I drink. Here people, for example, drink too much. You go in the bed, you smoke, you take fire. Normally the fire starts from accident.
Yeah.
But in the woods in Europe, it starts also from the sun. If it's a piece of glass, when the sun strikes, you make a small fire, and you see in the movie, in the documentaries, etc. In Europe, there's a big problem with fire. Here in Sierra Leone, we have no problem. But over there, they are special kind of things. They have something like that burns too much, one liquid. And this one, big damages, not Europe.
Okay. What are some of the colors of fire?
The colors?
Yeah.
It depends the material that you burn. There's the material. Other color is fire from petrol or petroleum or gasoil. Other come from wood, etc., etc. Depends, understand?
Okay, then what are some of the dangers? that fire may cause?
Dangerous. You can also lose your life now. If the fire, there are many people in Europe. One starts a fire in one wood. You understand? They also can be circulated. They can die. They die animals, etc. The fire is a worst thing.
Bina Andy's adult Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, you know what's in a fire?
Yeah, dangerous. Sometimes it's good.
Okay, then tell me how it's dangerous and how sometimes it's good.
Fire cause disaster. Irreparable disaster.
Okay. Well, you know sky color the way fire again?
Well, Diana, that fire, yet for put. Yet. But guy, the major colors I get, orange.
Okay, but what do you think say event fire?
Well, that one did answer a question. They said that from South Africa. Somebody said that from South America.
Well, what do you say?
Well, fire just come.
Fire just can't on.
Just yes.
Ain't nobody not make fire.
They're from storage.
Okay, from the stone.
They begin click stone.
Okay.
Stone and spark. Something flint.
My name is James.
Okay, James. You get the idea about fire? How fire come about?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me stories about fire.
Well, fire starts from old storage since 90, something like that.
Oh, okay. You know some of you use the way fire there?
Yes.
Actually, when
they use fire for soap and other things.
where about some of the danger there?
Yes, fire.
How?
Because it destroy most of it. Like, for example, like me, fire don't destroy me. You don't want us.
And what's in some of the color there?
Yellow, red.
Okay, thank you very much.
My name is Maurice.
Well, you said not fire.
Yeah, I study fire.
What's not fire?
Fire is something dangerous, actually, and two we can use them for cook.
And what way fire dangerous?
What fire dangerous? One it can affect like when it inside was normal, for cook food day, for cook now also can cause dangerous. That's not one.
You know the color the way fire again?
Yeah, color gets so many. Fire gets so many colors like blue, red, green, and so many.
What do you think that they use fire for? What do you think they use fire for?
Yes, one that key normally use that for cook food. Some people use that for either smoke or other things.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Edward Samba.
Okay, Mr. Edward, you know anything about fire? You know, you get any idea about fire?
Yeah, fire, I know a lot about fire. Fire is a dangerous something. They go up from spark or different things in fire they go up from.
And what way fire dangerous?
Dangerous because it kill people and destroy property and destroy human life.
Okay, it's fire for.
Fire they come up from different aspects, from electricity, failure, from your cooking pots, from your gas pots and everything like that. So fire they come up.
From the beginning,
invent fire? What are the first person for you?
Because you don't know the first, but how they invent fire?
No, definitely I'm not able to tell you that invent fire because I know ever do study about fire. But I know say from the old Stone Age, people are not do fire from spark up stones and all and stuff like this. So, but if you say that the direct person who invent fire, I can't now.
When are some of the use them with fire again?
Fire gets a lot of use. They use fire for cook, they use fire for do plenty other things. But they do plenty things.
But you know the color the way you get?
Fire get different flame. They get one, they get blue flame, they get red or yellow flame something done, they get green flame. Okay. One of.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Welcome back. That was Vox Pop done around various places by people about fire. That was people's own view about fire. HAJARATU.
It was interesting to learn about. I think the first man that actually knew about fire, he said that fire was introduced by the olden days, the primitive people.
That's our ancestors.
But we were not even born yet. Of course, all of us were not even born yet. So like they started with a stone, and spark with another stone. It brings out a spark that's introduced like a fire or something. Well, it was interesting though. He was not the only person who knew about it though. There were other people too. It was an interesting comment that a girl said. The girl said, like matches, I will quote this one. A Pekin, they will take matches, lighter, and they cook fire.
Okay,
I don't understand that one though.
A mama, when mama they left in Pekin, then the Pekin they take the matches and scratch the matches, then the host born, something like that. Because that wasn't even the question that we asked her.
But still,
the question was, what is fire? What's your own idea? But that's our own idea about fire. But that's not the correct definition.
And also many people talked about how dangerous
fire
is. It's very, very dangerous if you don't handle it with care. It was so cool to get the information on fire too. And they said very good things too, how it came about. And we learned a lot from them too. And everybody we interviewed, it was fun, it was crazy. And there was this one man too.
Okay, so the one... What was his name that we asked? What's the meaning of SLBC? Sheriff, love. Okay, S for Sheriff, L for love, B for banana, and C for coconut.
It was drunk, but I didn't think we noticed it until he started to talk. Like he was like.
But again, there was sense out of it.
Yeah.
And he also took his cigarettes. I'm showing us.
And that is bad too. Don't smoke. Like don't say matches or fire can lead us to get to smoke. Smoking is not good. It can affect your
It's dangerous to your health.
Very dangerous. Seriously, it should just.
It's even written on the box that smoking is dangerous for your health.
So stop smoking. In case you want to get involved in smoking, or because you think your friend is involved in smoking because of fire, don't get involved with it. Because like you'll be talking like that man soon. It was like, hey, it was crazy, but it was fun. And really after that, like the box was amazing. So now we're going to go to a presentation of scientists explaining how fire is, how it came about, what is the meaning of fire. And I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. So just like stick and stay and watch, and we'll bring you more entertaining stuff about fire.
Let's watch it.
Hi, I'm Trace, and this is episode 2 of 5 in our series on fire. It might seem like a simple topic, but there's a lot here. Yesterday, we talked a bit about what fire is exactly. Today, we're going to talk a bit about how it became a possibility on our planet, because it wasn't always a thing here on Earth. We're also going to talk about cooking and burns and firefighting and all sorts of cool stuff. But where did fire come from? When was the first fire? Fire didn't always exist here on planet Earth. I know that might come as a shock to some of you, but seriously, there was a time in history that fire was actually an impossibility. Because remember the fire triangle: fuel, oxygen, and heat. You need those three things in order to make fire. And there was a time when Earth didn't have oxygen in the atmosphere. So without oxygen, no fire. 2.3 billion years ago, the Great Oxygenation Event happened. Once the Great Oxygenation Event happened, we had oxygen, but we still didn't have fire. Yeah, not quite yet. There was still no fuel for the fire to burn. The earliest source of fuel would likely be plants. The intersection of oxygen getting to a level on Earth to sustain fire and also plants, that was about 400 to 450 million years ago. Not that long in the grand scheme of Earth's history, right? The earliest evidence of fire came in the form of charcoal, specifically the oldest piece of fossil charcoal that we've ever found, which is, of course, the earliest byproduct of fire ever found, the earliest evidence of fire on our planet. It may have existed before this, but we know that in about 416 million, 358 million years ago, in the late Devonian period, charcoal was discovered. Well, we discovered it later, but that's when it burned. It was a time when forests were spreading across the earth, and thus fire could happen because there was wood, there was heat, and there was oxygen. Heat, of course, had been around on Earth for a long time. We'd been bombarded by things from space during the formation of the early solar system. The sun had been around for a long time before the planet even formed. So we had a lot of heat around, but it was more of a smoldering magma, kind of heat than it was flames and burning kind of heat. So now that we're in the age of fire, 400 million years ago, fire can exist. But when do we get a hold of it? When do humans and our ancestors get to kind of take it and use it, right? There's no one agreed upon theory of when man cultivated fire. So far, the earliest evidence of human-controlled fire was found in the Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. It's one of actually the oldest known human habitation sites, and they think that this is about 1 million years old. So maybe we had fire 1 million years ago. Scientists dug up soil from inside the cave, and after looking at samples under a microscope, they found ash inside of this cave, specifically carbonized pieces of leaf and twigs, and also bits of animal bone. They concluded that since no wind or rain had affected the ash inside of this cave, the fire must have been made in that cave, which would rule out a forest fire coming through the area or lightning. They also performed a test called the Fourier Transform Infrared Microspectroscopy, which measured how the materials absorbed infrared waves. They measured essentially how hot something got. And they use it today in crime labs to find traces of drugs and things, but the test on this ash showed that the material in the cave had been heated to between 750 and 1300 degrees Fahrenheit. And that lines up with a twig/grass campfire. But I know what y'all must be thinking now. We've got caves, we've got fire. Obviously you're thinking about bat poop, right? Because doesn't rotting bat guano sometimes become hot enough to spontaneously combust? Yeah, it does. No one was thinking that? Just me? Cool. Scientists were also thinking that, so they checked, and no, bat poop did not start this fire. Best guess is that it must have been Homo erectus. Homo erectus lived in that cave maybe 1 million years ago and used some sort of fire. That's pretty old. Does that mean that humans started using fire 1 million years ago? Not necessarily. Yes, they found in the Wonderwork Cave this ash, and this is a best guess based on that ash, but we're still not 100% sure that humans were the ones who made this fire. Even if they did, it doesn't mean that humans had tamed that fire. For example, the oldest suspected remains of human-made fire were found in Kenya, dating back 1.6 million years, but there's no way to tell if those were controlled by humans, as in we didn't control that fire. We didn't have it in a fire pit. They could have been from lightning, could have been from forest fires, could have been from a volcanic eruption. We're not really sure. The best evidence that we know of the first controlled fire, as in we started it, we kept it somewhere, and we used it. We harnessed the power of this fire. It was in a place in Israel called the Gesher Benot Yaakov. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, obviously. That has evidence of human-controlled fire. There's evidence of burnt wood, seeds, and of course flint, which you can use to start fires. And this is in specific small places spread over a large area, which might show that humans were making their own fires around 790,000 years ago. That's, without a doubt, we can probably say those things. And some say that these findings are traces of hearths. And hearths are the ultimate in controlling fire. That a hearth is, where you cook, where you gather in your house. It's the fireplace, essentially. But prior to having a stove, and an electric stove or a gas stove, you would cook over the hearth as well. So it was the center of the house. Other researchers date the first hearths back to another place in Israel, the Kesem Cave. 300,000 years ago, there was somebody potentially in that cave using a fire that left behind wood ash, heated to a temperature that could only have come from a hearth. The University of Colorado Museum in Boulder found evidence of ancient fireplaces in England from 400,000 years ago, and in Spain from 228,000 years ago, where early man were cooking rabbits and tortoises and small animals. They know it was a hearth because there were layers of ash, one after another. That showed that the fire was being lit again and again and reused, showing that we knew how to control fire and keep it in a specific place. So we know 228,000 years ago, at least maybe as far back as 800,000 years. Pretty cool. Even though the science world is not 100% sure where the first controlled human fire was, we do know they definitely started using it to cook or warm themselves. We know it was a long time ago, and we know it was really important. Why? The cooking hypothesis. Primatologist Richard Wrangham says that ape ancestors first discovered how to harness fire, and eventually those evolved into the earliest humans. So think Homo habilis into Homo erectus. Fire would help fend off creatures at night, provide light, changing us so that we didn't have to rely on the sun for our light. It also meant that these ancient human ancestors could stop living in trees. They could come down from the trees and live on the ground or sheltered in caves. And more importantly, when you cook food, you break down the proteins in it. Think of it this way. If you have to spend your whole day chewing food, you can't really go out and invent the wheel. When you cook it, even a little bit, barley, rye, grains, those provide large amounts of energy with a low amount of digestibility. We're kind of pre-digesting these things. Basically, the cooking hypothesis says that because we had this extra energy, because we were pre-digesting our food, our bodies could evolve to grow bigger brains, allowing us to become the humans that you see today clicking away on the internet. And even though this is just a theory, and we don't know if it's 100% true, it's very compelling, and it might be one of the reasons fire helped early humans become us.
Welcome back. So,
the historian teacher told us it was Ali Man who
invented fire, who came up with the fire idea, because they used fire for different purposes, to cook, to like dry their clothes,
to get warm,
because like
it was very cold, so they have to get warm. Then they'll think that.
And they were not civilized by then. There was no clothes like this before.
But you know what's surprising is that fire cannot only just be created, by stone or matchstick or a big old
it's taking a grass with a rope. But also fire can be created with water.
If you guys don't believe it, like we're saying water and it can create fire. It was like two things involved. Two. Water and sunlight. So like those two things can create fire. If you don't believe us, there's a short skit on how water was actually used to create fire.
But because people might be saying, what are they saying? It's totally wrong. Okay, yeah. So let's watch the video and see how fire is made out of water.
Normally, we'd think of using water to put out a fire, but in this video, you'll learn how to use water to start them. If you're ever lost in a survival situation, here's a little trick you're going to be so glad to know. To practice this technique, we'll use 3 sheets of paper and a water bottle. Paper with black ink is easy to practice with, so let's get started making this top sheet into a platform by folding it in half 3 different ways. The black ink is showing, and that's a good thing, so now we can prepare these other 2 sheets by cutting or ripping them in half. This gives us 4 pieces, and we can fold each of them in half so that they're creased down the middle. Alright, time for the action. We'll need to remove the label from this little bottle and use the convex edge as a makeshift magnifying glass to focus the sunlight. It only takes a few seconds to get this paper smoking, and pretty soon, we've got it smoldering. When the hole is about the size of a quarter, we'll need to slowly add multiple layers of papers. Swinging it around gently will help the air get to the embers, and when they get hot enough, a flame appears. That's it in a nutshell, but in practice, you'll probably find that it's not quite as easy as it looks. So here are a few tips and tricks to help you master your technique. First of all, use a bottle with clear plastic and remove the label. The top should be smooth and rounded so that it magnifies the image on the other side. I've been successful with colored bottles like this green 2-liter and this little blue 8-ounce bottle, but the color absorbs some of the sun's energy and makes it a lot more difficult to get a coal. The color of the liquid also needs to be as clear as possible, but in desperate situations, it is possible to light a fire with your pee. Look for how to do that in a different project. If you're using paper for tinder, use something with big black letters or pictures, or rub some dirt on it because the black absorbs the heat. Trying to do this on a white piece of paper is just going to frustrate you. When focusing the light, hold the bottle close to the paper and slowly back it away, shifting the bottle around to find the area where the majority of light is concentrated. It should be very bright and start smoking within a few seconds. Keep the light focused until a hole begins to burn and grows to about the size of a quarter. At this point, you can gently set the embers in the creased part of another paper and hold it loosely at the corner. Tight enough so that the embers are in contact, but loose enough to allow plenty of air to flow. When the embers have burned a hole through the sheet, add another one in the same way, pinching the corner and holding loosely. As the heat builds and the process is repeated 2 more times, you should have a billowing bundle of smoke. It's at this point you can blow forcefully into the embers, and voila, a healthy flame. This is the technique that I've had the most success with. It should work for you, but might take a little practice. If you try this at home, you may be surprised to learn that you can rub the ashes into your lawn. The potassium, phosphorus, and calcium in the ashes make great lawn fertilizer, so long as it's in small quantities. For another challenge, try this with water and a plastic sandwich bag. I found those can work as well. Well, now you know how to start a fire with your water bottle.
Well, welcome back. That was just a simple explanation about how fire is made out of water. HAJARATU, isn't that video amazing?
It was like, whoa! It was incredible. And you know, there are a lot of things that it takes to like make it.
I mean the items, but like the 4 major things that you need: a bowl, water,
a bowl of rubber, and water, a paper which has carbon in it, and
a torch or the sunlight. But without a paper with carbon, trust me, fire isn't going to work.
But the paper has to have like carbon in it, so that it can light up. And you guys saw what happened when there was no carbon in one paper and the man was like not able to make fire out of it. So so he had to find a paper with carbon. But it was
just like impossible, but the video
proved that everything that's impossible. Even the word says impossible when you watch like impossible, just like take it to your own, it says impossible. So like nothing is impossible. And when we watched it, like the first time I watched it, like I couldn't stop, like I had to like repeat it again to see it with my own eye like sharpened, like it's like I was sleeping, like I was dreaming, but it wasn't. It was like reality. And that is incredible because like if you get stuck on an island or you get stuck in a particular area and you can also use fire. Yeah, for signal, like call for help. You can get like rubber, water, sunlight, a paper with carbon. Just like put it there and it's could create for you like. And you know that also lime. You can make fire out of lime, nails and wires.
A couple of wires.
Yes, you can make it out of it. You know it was actually a Polish man who does this. He took the lime, then put a couple of nails on top of the lime, like 3, got many lime. 4 nails into the lime. So
first he rubbed the lime and melted it for the gas, because a lime has a gas, and I think a gas can work with fire.
So after he put like the nail and the lime, he got like a cable and connected connected one wire from the starting of one nail and went to another edge of the nail. You have positive and negative. It's like a battery, like positive and negative sides. Yeah. So you got positive and negative.
And it starts to spark.
Yeah, and put it like a couple of waffles or paper. Then fire came about.
And now we are going to do the same thing with the zinc nails on the other side. And make sure they don't touch each other. Now we're going to take some wire and connect the first copper clip to the second zinc nail. Just like that, and then we're going to connect the second copper clip to the third nail, and so on. This will create a reaction between the copper and the zinc that will create electricity. Now we're going to connect a wire to each side. The zinc nail will be minus and the copper clip will be plus. Now we are finished, and the lemon should now produce around 5 volts of electricity. The next step is to take the steel wool and place some dry tinder on it. I used toilet paper. Now we will take the wires from the lemon and place them on the steel wool. This will create a short circuit that makes the steel wool glow red hot.
that too is amazing because lime, water and sunlight, yeah, I can get that because like sunlight has heat, but the lime though, it's very interesting and very amazing when you see it. Like you will say to yourself, wow, wow, wow. There are many things out there we don't know about, and every day we keep figuring out how to make new things, and that is just life. Yeah, I would like to do that
Everything is
one day.
possible, you know. Just need to try it.
Yes, and practice every day. I have to do it. Anyway, we're talking about fire, and we're going to go to another very good documentary where we get to learn how the
primitive part of fire.
The element got to make fire. There are like many things involved.
Don't forget to send your comments at 0776188848, or you can check us at Facebook, Kids Corner, or YouTube.
Yes, and like we said, we're going to watch a documentary on the primitive ways
parts
on how to make fire.
So let's watch it. Welcome back. Well, you just watched the primitive part, the primitive explanation about how fire is formed. Hajaratu, what did you learn from that video?
I learned that Alimen were really strong. Their hands were like so strong. Not like us now, like we're so lazy. But the man was like, oh, and then
imagine the pain because his hands all got burned.
Yeah, and hands, breath, everything was like out of breath. But still, he was strong. He made it, and he proved his point that you can make it with stone, a stick, and a rope.
And also, to create fire isn't easy at all. Because imagine if they want to cook, they'll take hours, like making the fire, Then after I take like another hours to cook the food. So
we've come like from a very, very long way. Now we just like take matchstick, just like, or lighters. You know, it's very easy now. But
because now it's the modern days and they made it very easy for us.
But it was not easy for the element though. It was very hard.
And also, you know, fire can be useful and hazardous at the same time.
Yes, very.
I think that people should be careful about leaving fire around because fire is very dangerous and very useful at the same time.
Yes, and of course you guys have watched everything about it. Like, you have the good part, so you can cook, you can eat, you can fill your belly, it will be big, very, very big. But then the very bad part is that if you're not careful, you can get your house burned down, and that's like unfortunate.
And you also can get burned.
Everything you work hard for, everything will go down the drain, just like
imagine your money in the house,
yeah,
your chairs, your television.
When I was like in class 1, it happened. I was got burned down.
How were you like? Were you shocked or?
Like I came, everybody was like rushing to the house, like throwing water so that the fire could get down. So, but everything got burned.
Do you think that water is the solution to that problem at the moment?
Yeah, I think. But for some, like a car, sometimes it's not very good if you pour
because
water
of fuel.
Yeah, that can be very dangerous. Well, guys, I hope you've understood like a lot of what we'll be talking about fire and how it's good, how it's bad, how it was introduced into this world, how now it's easy for us to make fire, and you know, I hope you've learned a lot. And you can tell your friends too about what
from the historian teacher, the videos,
the documentaries,
the vox pop.
Yes. Contact us like a number below, send your comments, or you can go to our Facebook page, Kids Corner, and just leave a comment that you want to leave there, and you can give us ideas to what topic we should talk about.
And you also can leave your topic at 077-618-848. So
and
that
watch us
we'll
on YouTube too. It's there if you want to keep watching us over and over.
Well, yes. This is how we bring down the curtain for today's segment. We have been your presenters for today. I'm SUAD, BAYDOUN, and
HAJARATU.
Thank you very much for watching. Stay blessed.
And see you next time. Au revoir.